I grew up in a small town south of here called Aledo, and grew up in a pretty normal family, normal life, going to church. I really didn't know God. I knew a rules-based God and a dead God. That was my understanding of who God was. And so throughout junior high, high school, I started making some small bad decisions, and eventually those turned into larger bad decisions, and really got into drugs heavy in high school, got into alcohol and the party lifestyle, everything that comes with that, and hurt a lot of people in that process. And I also had some highlights. You know, I was in the military as a private investigator once I graduated, went to alternative school. So I had some bad times, and I had some good times as well. But sadly, the drugs just always hung in there, and found myself homeless at age 18, 19, and I remember nights waking up in the back of a van because it was the only thing that I had, breaking into hotel rooms for a place to stay, selling everything I had just to get that next fix, that next high. And that life just continued to tear apart every good thing that I had. Ended up being discharged from the military because of my drug use, ended up losing my private investigating job, and so I hurt my family, and so just drugs just literally ripped apart my life. And eventually I did stuff that I never thought I would ever imagine doing. Broke into multiple people's homes to steal items in order to continue getting that next high. And eventually that led me to a jail, a Mercer County jail, and I would spend the next year of my life there. Jail was not a fun experience. You know, when I first got there, I'd been to jail off and on before. And when I first entered jail, I was looking at 14 years. And so having that sentence over your head is a pretty scary thing. And when you're in jail, you're trying to figure out who you are, because you're no longer known as Rusty Boruff. I was known as inmate in cell 121, and trying to wrap my mind around that and finding out I had a choice. I could let God define who I was, or I could let cell 121 define who I was. And that was a tough moment of my life. And you're 100% out of control. I couldn't control anything. I had a son that was on the way. I couldn't call his mom and see how he's doing. I couldn't reach out to my family whenever I wanted to. I was in a small cell, cell 121, with a bunch of other dudes, and it was a scary moment. But thankfully, there was this older gentleman named Merle who would come in every Sunday. He was the only volunteer that would ever come into the jail, and he'd come visit me. And he wasn't the most exciting speaker. He was in his like 90s. He would actually fall asleep while he was talking to me. But it was never what Merle really said that made the biggest impact on my life. It's what he did. And by him going into that jail cell every Sunday, number one, it showed me that God forgave me for the stuff I had done in my life. And number two, it showed me that someone believed in Rusty Boruff. No matter all the mistakes I had made in my life, no matter all the people I had hurt in my life, it showed me that someone believed in me. And that was my motivation to change my life. And so that's where I found Jesus, was in cell 121, through a 90-year-old guy just coming in to talk to me every Sunday. And it made a huge impact in my life.